back with another breaking news. It's that time of year when there's loads of transfers and transfer rumours flying around. And we're still over here in Kenya at the Serena Hotel. Thank you very much, the Serena Hotel. Absolutely amazing place. But Kenya, big news breaking from David Ornstein, who broke the original story on Bruno Guimarães.
Yes.
What is he saying now?
So David Ornstein says Arsenal are nearing total agreement with Newcastle United to sign Bruno Guimarães. Desire among all parties to bring the situation to a close, plus deal now on course for completion. And the 28-year-old is awaiting Newcastle to give him permission to undergo his Arsenal medical and switch to the champions.
Okay, that's it. David Ornstein's broken that. His deal is getting closer and closer. I said on my Transfer Daily show today that, I understand that, medical could be as early as tomorrow. It was originally, we were being told originally was going to take place on Monday, but for some reason there's been a little bit of I wouldn't even say a hiccup.
Yeah.
So what I understand is Bruno Guimarães wanted to go over to Spain, say his goodbye to the players. Yeah. He's done that, and now he's coming back to join Arsenal. There has been some journalists, sort of Newcastle linked journalists, still saying that, nothing's in place, no fee and all this, but listen, this deal is getting close. And hand of Arsenal, he's been a very reliable ITK. He also had something to say on it as well, didn't he?
Yeah, and basically, in essence, he just said that, a lot of it is PR, and I think it makes a lot of sense. If you're Newcastle, you never want it to seem like your captain's left easily. You always kind of want to make it seem like he really wanted to stay and it was kind of a begrudging decision, when actually as fans, especially Arsenal fans, we know it was a very easy decision for Bruno Guimarães. And we've spoken before as well, we need to think from his perspective. Newcastle right now, they've lost their manager, Anthony Gordon's gone, Sandro Tonali's left. Think about last season as well, who they lost. And on top of that, imagine you've gone to a World Cup, you're playing with Vinicius Jr., Gabriel Magalhaes, some of the best players in the world. No offence, coming back to Newcastle, a club that is just in disarray at the moment. So for him, it's probably an easy decision, and he's 28 as well.
Easy decision for him to make, but like you said, the optics, as I spoke about this morning, he personally doesn't, he loves the Newcastle fans.
Yeah, of course.
You saw him praising Eddie Howe and talking about how, Eddie Howe made him captain, really gave him his break in this country.
Yeah.
So he's appreciative of the Newcastle fans, and he doesn't want to leave like how Alexander Isak left.
Yeah.
However, he wants to leave.
Exactly.
And Newcastle, as a football club, don't want to make it look like,
he just walked.
Yeah,
easy.
as soon as they got a little offer from Arsenal, bang, off you go.
Yeah.
They need to make this look like they've made this difficult.
Exactly.
They've done all they possibly could to keep him, but in the end, it's like, all right, we're going to let you go. We know we're not in the Champions League.
Yeah.
We'll let you know in good faith. And that way, they can start to rebuild, a little bit of reputation with their fans, who are fuming at the moment with the amount of players that they're losing.
Yeah.
But they save a little bit of a face, and that's what's happening here. Bruno Guimarães, we've known since last week, is on his way to Arsenal. And as David Ornstein's saying, now it's nearing completion. And it's going to be a fantastic signing for Arsenal. It really is going to be a fantastic signing to have Bruno Guimarães in that midfield and getting him in now.
Yeah.
Pre-season is still on. Obviously, he's not going to be in time for the game that takes place tomorrow over in Ireland with Real Betis, but could be in place for the game on Sunday.
Borussia Dortmund. Yeah, I think, look, Bruno G, I think just as a consolation for Newcastle fans, of course, you never want to lose a player of that ilk, but you're also getting a very good fee for him. We need to remember, although for me, I don't really care about, how old someone is. To me, it doesn't matter if you're 30, if you're a top player in your position and you command a fee of such much as, that's been rumoured with Bruno Guimarães, it's deserved. But at least Newcastle, for their fans, they have about at least £80 million potentially to reinvest that into a midfield where they've shown already they're actually a very good club at recruiting. Do you know what I mean? They, Sandro Tonali, Alexander Isak, Bruno G, all very good recruitments. But for us, we're potentially saying that we might start the season without Declan Rice, who's played unprecedented amount of games. You've got a like for like, essentially. You've got someone that is brilliant on the ball, can play a 6, can play an 8, He's influential, he's a leader, he's a captain. And as well, look at how good he was in the World Cup. I think he got the most assists for Brazil in the World Cup. For me, it's a no-brainer. Just drop that money. I'm excited for him to come. 100%.
Yeah, I'm excited, and I think he's worth that amount of money. It's a bit like, you know, when we bought Declan Rice, it was a high fee.
Yeah, it's worth it.
But we sing a song.
Exactly.
We got him half price. I think this could be a similar signing in that Bruno Guimarães could be a very influential player for Arsenal. We're going to be battling on multiple fronts.
Yeah,
I think this is where Mikel Arteta has learnt from Pep Guardiola that if you're going to battle on multiple fronts, you need not just a good squad, you need an excellent squad of the highest quality.
Exactly.
And that is certainly what he's doing here. This sort of signing is an absolute statement of intent when you're signing such a top quality player. And also, what we really got to hand it to Andrea Berta and Mikel Arteta is that they've obviously worked on this deal for a while, right?
Yeah.
Because
Not rushed into it.
no other team has really made a move to try and get him. And that's obviously because Bruno Guimarães has already given Arsenal guarantees that, listen, I will come to you. And, you know, that's we're seeing a sea change with Arsenal now, that they are attracting the very, very best players.
Exactly.
We are now at the top table when it comes to these transfers, and that is good to know because, you know, if you're going to win leagues, win Champions League, you need the best players.
Oh, 100%. I also feel like, you know, the way the transfer market is now, it's completely different. You know, back in the day, you kind of just contact a club and typically that player just gets forced out or gets moved on. Whereas nowadays, you actually have to approach the player first in their camp. And I think, as we said already, we're at an advantage of we've just won the league. You know, we've been to 2 finals this season as well. We're an ambitious team that obviously is going on to win things, but also a very stable team compared to all the other teams in the league. And Bruno Guimarães as well, he's 28. He's 28 turning 29, probably thinking, right, I'm in my prime right now, but, you know, we all know football is a short career. Let me go play in the Champions League, potentially go and win the Premier League and cement myself as a Premier League legend, because really and truly, he's a Newcastle legend, absolutely. But as well, he's one of the best midfielders in Europe. I think a lot of people forget that. So for me, it's excellent business. And I think as well, as fans, we need to give credit to Andrea Berta, because I think a lot of people been on his back, but he's been getting it done.
Yep. Well, listen, that is the news today.
Right, so Mikel spoke after the game, obviously on the performance itself. He was very happy with what he saw from his team and the starts of pre-season and the way the players have adapted so far and the hunger that they've come back with. He spoke a lot about that. He was obviously asked about transfers. He was asked about Vinny, but in a way it was Nick from Haters said, look, I know you're not going to want to comment on Vinny, but you know, what can you say about the transfer speculation and what the Arsenal fans can expect over the next couple of weeks? And he said, we are really active trying to improve and evolve the team. That's clear. We expect to have movements in the next few weeks. Obviously, we want to get better like anybody else. And you just see the transfer market and our opponents and what we are doing. We won't sit still, and we are very ambitious with what we're doing. He was then asked, you know, why the need to continue to improve after what you did last season? He said, because the margins are very small, because we want to get better and the level is only going to increase. We need to increase the competition internally. We need to make sure we identify the things that we don't have in the team. We have bigger margins, and that's the way we have to see it. And there was a big smile when he was asked by Isan at the end, you know, is Vinny coming? Mikel just did a big smile and walked off. And obviously, we spoke about it on yesterday's show. This is going to be some crucial days. I think he's due back tomorrow, Vinny, at Real Madrid, along with a couple of other World Cup players. So he's due back tomorrow, and it's going to be very interesting how the next few days or the next week or so unfolds in Madrid and those contract talks with Vinny, and whether there is some sort of agreement, a compromise, whatever. And if not, we know that Arsenal are ready to act. They're ready to go. They're ready to move. We'll see if they can get that one over the line. Okay, so 1 in, 1 out. That looks like the way we saw it with Trossard out, Solis in. Christian Norgard, who was there yesterday, Ben White, no, it was Pierre Nkapio was trying to get him to lift the trophy yesterday. So he wasn't involved, obviously. And it looks like he is on his way to Everton. That is close to happening. About £7 million for Christian Norgard, who's just going to spend 12 months as an Arsenal player. But what a 12 months. Could he have been used more last season? Potentially, yes. But still, played a big role, played a key role, certainly behind the scenes. You know, you speak to any of the players about the role that Christian.
If the move is
Norgard played in
finalised,
Arsenal's
Arteta
title
would
win.
gain a midfielder capable of raising the level of everyone around him. Imagine Bruno operating alongside Martin Odegaard and Declan Rice. The combination of creativity, defensive stability, and technical quality would give Arsenal one of the most balanced midfields anywhere in Europe. For Newcastle, losing a player of Bruno's calibre would undoubtedly be a significant moment. Since arriving at St James's Park, he has become a fan favourite through his commitment, leadership, and consistently outstanding performances. Replacing a footballer with that level of influence is never straightforward, which is why negotiations surrounding his future have attracted so much attention. Today's report suggests that discussions have reached an important phase, with both clubs continuing to work through the remaining details. As with any major transfer, there are still several formal steps that must be completed before anything becomes official. Agreements on paperwork, contractual details, and the final stages of the process remain essential before supporters can celebrate. The timing of this potential move could also have a major impact on Arsenal's remaining transfer plans. Securing a midfielder of Bruno's quality early would allow the club to focus on strengthening other positions before the deadline, ensuring the squad is fully prepared for another demanding season across the Premier League, domestic cups, and European competition. Supporters have waited all summer for a breakthrough. Now, optimism is growing. Every fresh report increases the excitement. Every update brings Arsenal one step closer to what could become one of the biggest signings of the entire transfer window. Of course, transfer stories can change rapidly, and football has taught us that nothing is guaranteed until the official announcement arrives. But one thing is certain, Bruno Guimarães remains at the centre of one of the most closely followed sagas of the summer. We'll continue tracking every development, analysing the latest reports, and bringing you all the biggest Arsenal transfer updates as they happen. If you enjoy daily Arsenal news, Premier League transfer rumours, and detailed football analysis, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you never miss another update from the Emirates Stadium.